Recently, I've made a poll on my Instagram stories asking if you practice working on weekends. And you know what? The majority of the responses were positive. This means that many of you are taking work to home. And the results of this poll made me create this episode. And I'd like to share my 5 years experience in working overtimes and taking work to home and on working on weekends. And also, I'm going to share my 5 challenges that I see in this approach. So if you're interested, then keep on watching. Hey there, what is up? I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to my project management sandbox. My name is Chris, I'm PMP certified, and here on my channel I'm sharing tips and tricks on project management, leadership, professional skills, certifications, and many more. So if you do not want to miss a thing, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. At the meantime, we are getting directly to our topic for today. I cannot say that I was so much surprised with the results of the poll and the proportion of the responses. And this is simply because I worked overtime and I worked on weekends extremely often. And I simply got used to this. Well, I can't say I'm not doing this now at all, but the approach and the process that I use now is tremendously different from the one that I have got used to before. So let's discuss why people work on weekends and why do they take work to home. Theory number 1. You might think that working overtime will help you doing more than your colleagues and it will help you earning a promotion. Theory number 2. For instance, you might be off track on a project and you feel that extra hours or late hours, maybe weekend work, is the only opportunity to get back on track. Theory number 3. You believe that working weekends is the only opportunity to become more productive because during the week you simply do not have opportunity to complete your own work because you are involved in too many meetings and chats. Number 4. You have to do more because your manager demands this and the business day is simply not enough. And reason number 5. All your colleagues and all your peers are doing that. I mean, working overtime, late hours, and on weekends. And if you do not do this yourself, you just feel guilty. By the way, let me know if this sounds familiar to you and if you are falling in one or several of these traps too. Whoa. Now let's stop and think whether all these reasons are really evident and whether there are any challenges or dark sides are hiding behind of them. Let's get back to reason number 1, which was earning a promotion. So you're taking extra hours, you're working overtime, which helps you getting results, right? Well, otherwise it's gonna be a waste of time. Now, let's look more precisely. You're going extra mile, you are getting results faster, your manager sees your fascinating productivity and you're finally getting those promotions of those roles or whatever you were eager to get. Looks amazing, right? But is that exactly that much cool as it sounds? Now tell me, how long would you be able to maintain the same mood? What I'm talking about that you were going extra mile, you were applying additional efforts in order to increase your productivity and to finally get that promotion. Well, here is a little misconception because when you were working these extra hours, this additional time, and you were applying additional efforts, you were assuming that by getting a promotion you will be able to return back to the regular mode. While at the same time, when your manager sees your productivity and he or she grants you that promotion, he expects this productivity is going to continue further. For number 2, we got a situation where we had a project off track and we assumed that working on weekends will help us saving the day. Well, I bet many of us have been in these shoes. And I would say that probably depends on the situation, this could be a reasonable solution. For instance, if this particular project demands us to work a little bit extended hours, if this gonna help us saving the day, well, we could do this. But another situation and another question is, how often do you have to do this and how many projects demand you doing this? Well, if this happens once or twice in a while, well, probably all is fine. But if this constantly happening on your projects, I would advise looking into your project plans because something might be going wrong there. For number 3, we had a situation when we were too much distracted by the regular meetings and chats during the business week, and that is why we were taking our work to home for weekends. Well, if you have to work on something tremendously important and you have to concentrate on this, that could be helpful. On the other hand, if you do practice this too much often, you will be just running out of your energy further. Number 4, we were talking about the situation when your manager demands working extra hours because the business day is simply not enough. Well, definitely here we can see some unhealthy situation. The problem could be on one side in your ability to concentrate and in your efficiency. On the other hand, this could be a problem and a bad environment. At any case, there is definitely something to think about. Number 5, last in our list but not the least one, and actually the favorite one of mine, is when we work extra hours because everybody in the company does that, and when you do not do the same, you feel guilty and feel like outsider because you are not engaged in the same environment like everybody else. The challenge and the problem that I see here, why people are getting in that trap working overtimes when they look at others, is simply because working overtimes, working on weekends, working late hours is encouraged by others. Finally, nowadays there is a tendency when we stop encouraging people working overtimes. However, in many companies still there is a positive reinforcement for those who are working extended hours, and that is really a big problem for many people. I'm talking about all these challenges, problems and situations because during my work experience I've been in all the situations myself, and that is definitely not a healthy approach to your work. What is more, when you're constantly working extra hours or overtimes and when you're constantly involved in the weekend work, the minimum you can get is the burnout. The worst case is when you're getting health issues as a result. And unfortunately, I've seen such cases too. During my research, I saw a huge amount of videos like why should I work on weekends, and almost none of them are talking about why should not I work on weekends. Have I experienced everything that we have discussed today? Yes. But have I stopped working on weekends completely? Well, actually no. And do I want to stop working on weekends at all? Well, hopefully someday I will manage to do this. Why this happens to me? The simple reason is that during my experience working overtimes within those years, this simply became a habit for me. And the bigger problem is that I felt guilty if I haven't done anything for work during the weekend, and I felt satisfied only at those moments when I have worked on weekends, and I was even admiring myself for the weekend work. As I have mentioned, that is not a healthy approach at all. And as a result, for those years of the overtime work experience, I had a negative impact to my motivation, to my productivity, to my health, and to my private life too. And that is why I do not see benefits in this approach anymore. Nowadays, I'm trying to recover from this, and I'm trying to reduce the weekend work as much as it's reasonably possible. And in a contrast to what I've done before, nowadays I'm admiring myself when I have managed not to work on weekends. As you can see, those reasons that we have discussed today are false in most cases, and they are leading to the negative impact and negative experience as a result. Let me know if you have found yourself in any of the situations and if you wanted me to cover any of these topics in detail. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends. Chat soon. Cheers!